Well, anyways, I think we are live. We're on Facebook, at least. Um, so tonight we are trying to get the Tadpole. The Tadpole Nebula, and later on tonight we're going to try to get the Whirlpool Nebula. So I started a little while ago to get a head start before I went live, make sure everything was working. Some things, sometimes it doesn't work great. You have problems, but once you're set up, it's usually going pretty good. So let's just go over kind of what you're seeing here on the screen. This is the main screen here, where this will display the latest, what they call sub image. I'm taking 3-minute subs. That means the camera exposure is 3 minutes. And that ding just said, oh, here's your latest one. So I don't know if you could see, it might be hard to see where you are, but this Tadpole Nebula got its name because it looks like there's 2 tadpoles here. And they're coming in pretty good. And after doing this for a few months, I can tell that this image is probably going to be pretty good when we're done. But let's give you some background. This is, right here is where it is in the sky. And that's my telescope. And that's where it's pointing. So if I zoom in really good, this software thinks it's getting, this is the image. And you can see, here's those 2 little, well, you may not be able to see, but here's 2 tadpoles here. So this is like this screen here you use if you want to move the telescope. So I'll be using this later on, probably not to around midnight though. Because I'm gonna try to get a Whirlpool Galaxy. That's pretty cool. So let me just show you some. Well, here's our current cloud, so it's pretty clear. There's some clouds, it looks like, in the north a little bit. We can see most of these states are all nice and clear. Detroit, or Michigan rather. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio's got clouds, and Pennsylvania's got clouds, but hopefully they stay there. Here is, so there's this website here called Astrobin, where people who do astrophotography, you can join that, and that's where you can put your pictures. So I went there and I I searched for Tadpole Nebula and my camera. People who use my camera to capture the Tadpole Nebula. And this one was the best one that I saw. That's really kind of cool. That's what so the hope would be that I could do something mine would come out as good as this. We'll see. Let's see, we might be able to tell how many hours if I go back. So that person spent 10 hours grabbing pictures. That's what it says here. He did 5-minute exposures and he did 125 of them. I find with my guiding, 5 minutes is too long. My stars will get not round anymore. So that's, I'm doing 3 minutes. So after this is what I want to try to shoot for. This is the Whirlpool Galaxy. And this is kind of cool because I think it's like, I'm not sure, but I think it's like this galaxy is eating this one. And they're eventually going to join. So I bet you that'll cause some bad weather there. But this doesn't come up over the horizon for me here until after midnight, about 12:15, I think. It's going to be clear to around 3. So maybe I get a few hours on that guy. So yeah, this is kind of a cool thing that this software can do. It's called K-Stars. And this area here that's black, that is actually the area of my backyard where I put the telescope. There's nothing blocking it. So like to the east here, this is the house, my house blocking it. And then there's trees and trees all around, and their trees are a little bit shorter over here, so that's why you can see more of the sky. But the red part is like if you were just out in a flat field, you could see all of that. So you can see I'm pretty limited because there's so many trees in my backyard, and neighbors' trees and all that. So, and then this blue line here, this is called the meridian. And when you'll see, if you watch for a while, I'll come back to the screen, where it says Celestron AVX in the red, that'll get closer and closer to the blue line. And when it gets to the blue line, you have to do something to the telescope called a meridian flip. So you have to stop imaging, and it has to go through a routine. It flips around, and if you didn't do that, it eventually, like your telescope, could hit the leg of the tripod and things could break, that kind of thing. So it's kind of annoying, but as things go through the sky, usually every night they end up crossing the meridian, so you kind of got to try to plan for that. Uh-oh, we have a problem. What's going on? Great. We have a problem. Houston, what happened? We lost our guide star. Some clouds may have rolled in. Alright. That's weird. That is weird. So, okay, Let's go back to our imaging. What happened here? So we had done 24 of 37 images. Let me restart it. Alright, I restarted. So something happened with guiding. And let's go back to the screen. That looks scary. So this is something called PhD that does the guiding. It takes a picture every second, and if any of the stars it sees in this corner up here, I'm pointing at it like you can see my finger. If they move a lot, but that's where clouds can confuse it, because the clouds could, where it can't see the stars, so then it gets confused and it shuts down. That's what happened. But for tracking wise, you want basically here this X every second. It's telling these are where it should be. It should be right in the middle. If it worked perfectly constantly, that little X would be very in the middle of that X. This circle. So it's guiding now pretty good. I mean, for me, that's really good. Interesting. So let's see, I got a message here. Let me try some. Hang on. Excuse me. Try something. Hang on, excuse me. Well, it's not, I don't think it published to YouTube. So I think it's on Facebook. So I don't know if this doesn't tell me if anybody's actually here. I'm probably just talking to myself. But let's see. Let me go see if I can find something. Let's see. All right, let's see if we can copy that. It does seem to be on YouTube. Oh, great. Love it. Okay, cool. All right, where were we? All right, so guiding looks good. All right, so okay, what I wanted to show you was we have a puppy cam. There's Snickers and Jack. They kind of sleep while I'm doing this stuff. They're not that interested in it. There's no ball playing. There's Snick. Oh, what's going on? No! We have a cat too. Oh no, a cat on the puppy cam. No! No! There, Jack's a little bit awake. So, we have no. Oh, we have a viewer. Oh no. It might be me. Alright, so let me show you what else I want to show. I showed you the puppy cam. I also wanted to show you the telescope. This is my backyard. We got some snow today. As you can, it might be hard to see. It's funny. It's this Chinese camera, and ever since the balloon went over, it's not been working very good. It works for a few minutes and then stops. But anyway, so I don't know if you could tell, but it's pointing like straight up. So the Lagoon Nebula is pretty much overhead. That's why I can see it in my backyard, even though there's so many trees. It's just overhead. So, and I think I can go to around midnight. Before it goes behind one of those trees, it goes down close to the horizon. So, let's show you the big view of the puppy cam. There's Pups, Snick. I can't believe Wally's even here. He's sleeping, my chair's blocking him. There he is. Snicky. There's Jack. Alright. Sorry. We'll go back here. So, what else can I show you? Okay, I haven't shown you everything yet. So, so every 3 minutes, this screen right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Maybe not. But this screen here with the picture, that gets updated with the latest sub, which is they call each image that you take, they call it a sub. So, and you can see the tadpole. So I from experience, seeing some of this other non-red color, this is going to end up being cool, I think, when the final image is processed. I'll probably do that tomorrow. So, I also am running one more program called Live Stacker, and it's a Mac. I think it's a Python program. It runs on all Windows and stuff, but obviously I got the Mac version. And what it does, every time an image comes in, it kind of reads it and tries to build from image to image. It's what they call live stacking. So we should see more detail in there. So let me switch to that. And this is the live stacker software. So I don't know what you can see where you're watching, but on my screen here, where it's nice and big, the tadpoles are much more defined, and the dark parts stay dark, and the other parts get a little bit more detail in them. So so anyways, I got a message. I was interrupted there for a second. So anyways, yeah, so every time an image comes in, he's working them out. And this is kind of nice for just so you can kind of get an idea how things are working. And I think this is going to end up being a good image. Over here, see this purple stuff? I don't know if you can see. I guess you can see my mouse is a hand right now on this screen. But that's called, I've forgotten what it's called. But some CMOS cameras, and mine's one of them, it can light leak on the corner. So what you do, you take what's called dark images, because you could take a picture and you could have in a closed room with no light, and that starburst will still be there because it's an error in the hardware. So what you do, you take these darks, and then when you go to process the images, the software will take that out. It'll just subtract it right out. It's really kind of cool how it can do that. So, okay, I don't know. Remember I was talking about the meridian flip? We're going to have to do a meridian flip in 29 minutes and 44 seconds. So I put up enough images that are going to end in 29 minutes and 38 seconds. So we're going to be 5 seconds late, but that'll be fine. So we're at 73% now. When that gets to 100%, we'll stop taking images and we'll do the meridian flip. And when we do that, I'll show the telescope so you can see what it actually does. It just moves around. It's kind of interesting. And then when we start taking pictures again, the tadpoles will be on the other side looking in. So it's because it'll be flipped to another orientation. And just later on, by let's say another 3 hours of taking images, the software, when I process it, will figure all that out and flip everything around correctly. It's really cool software. So what else could I tell you? Let's see. If anybody's shown up since the beginning, we're trying to get the Tadpole Nebula, and this screen here, you can kind of see what it is. Let me go back and show you someone else who captured it at another time with the same camera that I have. That's what that person ended up having it look like after processing and doing everything. There's a lot of artistry in this, so probably reassign some of the colors so it's blue, and this kind of does look like a Hubble palette type of imagery. But here are the tadpoles. Right here are these two guys. That's where it got its name. I didn't research this at all. I don't know how far away it is, but it's perfect for my telescope and camera, because you can see, well, maybe, but you capture the whole thing. And another telescope that has a wider field of view, you just see more of the stars. This is a nice, it's just perfect for this, for my setup with this hardware. Other things that are larger than this aren't good because you can't get the whole thing in one shot. So other telescopes with a bigger field of view are better for those kind of things. And that's kind of why people have more than one telescope, which is hard because this stuff is so expensive. So that's what we're doing the Tadpole. Later on around midnight, I'm hoping to get this. This is the Whirlpool Galaxy. And I think, like I said this before, and I really should look it up, but I think this is two galaxies that are merging. Obviously, the bigger one is kind of swallowing up the little one. But it's very unique. You don't really see that. That's why it's popular. People like to get it. And again, somebody using my camera, this is what they did, were able to do. So hopefully I can do it as well. So the telescope right now is pointing up, and when it gets to this blue line, we're going to have to do a thing called a meridian flip. As the telescope is slowly, because the Earth is rotating, the Tadpole Nebula looks like it's moving, and it's going to eventually hit this blue line. And when we hit the blue line, we have to stop imaging so we can readjust the telescope, and that's called a meridian flip. And then we can start imaging again. And when we do, the image will also flip. So I'll try to remember to point that out when we get there, when the first image comes in. As for guiding, as you can see, the stars are a little out of shape there. So the guiding, I've had better guiding. It's really a hard thing to do with a large telescope like I have. This guy is really big. Other telescopes are just, a refractor is a lot smaller. They still weigh a lot, but they're not so bulky. So if there's any wind, and I don't think there is any wind tonight, right now, wind's 3 miles an hour. So that's another factor that could mess things up. If it's windy, then it can really mess with your guiding, because that telescope moves at all. I've gone in just adjust a cable, and I've gone in, I looked at the guiding, it's gone like a EKG. See, right now the guiding is pretty poor. So you take these images, and some of them will get thrown out because of the stars not being very good. The software will kind of figure out, or you could do it by hand at first, just go through all your images, and if some of them are really, like this one's bad, this one should be thrown out. It's just gonna make the end image not as good if the software doesn't throw it out itself, so you might as well just do it yourself. Because I'm doing 20 images an hour, so at the most I'm gonna have is 100 images, so it's not that much work to go through each one and just delete the ones that look like this, where the stars are oblong. And again, that's because of guiding. So it's probably like when these dots happened, it was out of whack and not pointing it, like there it is there. And so that's what causes that kind of thing. That's why I do want to get a smaller telescope and just see. I think the guiding would be a lot easier. That's what I've learned after getting into this hobby from other people, other videos, people saying, don't buy a big telescope, because it'll be so much harder. And I didn't realize it. I got it at the time because it could do these and it could do planets, and I was being frugal. I didn't want to have to buy more than one telescope. But that's not going to work out that way, I don't think. Alrighty. So otherwise, this is how it is. It basically, if I was here not live streaming, I'd just be watching TV and just keeping an eye on, make sure it's all right, but babysit a little bit. But otherwise, it's mostly just let the computer do all the work. But the more subs you can get, the better. Your ending image will look that much better. Because the more you have, it improves the signal to noise ratio. And that's what you want. So let's see. I gotta do something here. Hang on. Alright, because I told someone I'd send them a link. So I forgot to do it until now. See, look at that. That picture's awful. I don't know if it comes through. Yeah, I bet you could see that. See how they're all elongated? And I don't really know why. It's funny. It's like it guides like really good, and then it goes to La La Land sometimes. And if it's a 3-minute exposure, it's got to be good for 3 minutes to get a good image. So if it goes to La La Land every couple minutes, and that's why shorter exposures are easier. But you have to take that many more. You have to have that much more time of clear skies. So it's just like this is the third time this week I've been able to image, which is great, awesome. But it was like 10 weeks with nothing because it was just cloudy, overcast, like all the nights. We had some days where the sun was out a little bit, but so that's that. See, I'm running out of things to say. We can do the puppy cam again. There's Jack. There's Snickers. And not a puppy. Well, he thinks he's a puppy. That's Wally. Sitting on my coat. That's his chair. So, that's his chair. That's where I sit usually, but if I get up, Snickers goes there. He's supposed to have the middle cushion. And Jack, this is Jack's corner over here. So, that's his spot. We'll leave it on Jack. He's... Okay, I got more. I got a message here I gotta fix. Hang on. Okay. Alrighty. Where are we? Okay. So, where are we? We're going to have to do this flip here soon. That's the other thing I noticed. The guiding's really bad now. The closer I get to that meridian, that's when it seems to happen. Isn't that weird? We're going to flip in 18 minutes. Alright, that one's a little bit better. It's still not right. So anyways, let's recap where we are. Because there's people coming here left and right, I'm sure. Anyways, so over here, this is the guy we're trying to capture tonight. This is the Tadpole Nebula. I don't know if you can see, but right here, I don't know, you probably can't see where my mouse is. No, not on this screen. But here's two tadpoles shaped like tadpoles. That's where it got its name. So this image here was taken by a guy or girl using the same camera I have. So, and this person took 10 hours of exposures. Now I won't have that much time. I'm gonna have around 5 hours, I think. So we'll just see. And then later on at around midnight, because at midnight the tadpole will be hidden. It'll be off out of view of the telescope in my backyard. So I'm going to switch to the whirlpool galaxy at around midnight. So this is kind of interesting. I think this is a fact. I'm not sure. But I think it's this galaxy, the bigger one, is eating the other one. So that's what they say is going to happen to the Milky Way. It's going to get eaten by Andromeda. And that's a lot worse than climate change. So anyways, so that's what I think is going on there, but I'm not sure. They could just be close galaxies, but doesn't it kind of look like they're eating, the big guy's eating the little guy? And on this tab, here's our cloud. We got a little bit of clouds to the north. Pennsylvania's cloudy, but all these states here, not a cloud in the sky. So, pretty rare for us in the winter that I've learned. But, like I said, 3 times this week where I was able to image, so not too bad. I'll take that. This is the guiding software, and the idea is you want that red X in the middle most of the time. And I don't know if you can see, but the little red X guy is jumping out of that little circle too much. So when that's happening, if we go back here, then your stars aren't round. So what we're doing here, to explain this blue line again, this is called the meridian, and this red circle here in the middle, that's where the telescope is pointing. When it gets to that blue line, we have to stop imaging and we have to flip the telescope. That's called a meridian flip. And the software can be figured to do it automatically, but I kind of like to babysit it. I'm not totally trustful of it all yet, but it could be, the software can do it all by itself, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do it by hand. So we're close. I think that's going to happen in 14, according to this, that's going to happen in 14 minutes and 20 seconds. And down here, if you can see this, we're 86% done because I computed how many images can I do before the meridian flip. This is around 7 o'clock. And I got really close. So the images are going to be done in 14 minutes and 10 seconds, and we got to do the flip just before then. It won't do it automatically because the image is going, I think. It'll let the image finish, and then it'll just do the flip on its own. So what'll happen is, so this is the last sub that got captured, and I don't know if you can see here, but here's those 2 tadpoles that were in the other image. When we get our first image, when it flips, the image will flip. It'll be, I think they'll be on this side, over here. It'll flip horizontally, or I don't know, or vertical. One of those two. But that's something we can check when we get there. So now we're guiding really good. Now, so we got 2 guiding graphs here. This bottom thing here, this is also showing the graph, and it has this number 0.90. That's good for me. I seem to never get it too often under 1.0. And I was watching actually this morning, Iceman Arizona or something, Iceman Astro. He lives in Arizona. And his buddy bought land out in the desert, and they go out about once a month because it's the darkest skies. It's far enough away from any of the cities that it's like the darkest you could get. And his guiding, he was getting 0.4 today on his video, and he said that was good for him, but I've never gotten it that good. I think the best I've ever gotten is 0.75. And I think it's just because my telescope is big and my mount isn't like a real huge professional one. It's a more of an entry level one. So see, now that one look good. Look, the stars are much more round. So let's see, that's the difference. There you can see the difference, because this was probably a 125, that last image before, when the stars weren't round. And again, once this is processed, the software will help make them round a little bit, but it's always better if you can keep them round at the beginning, and then you'll end up with a better image in the end. So let's go to the puppy cam. There's Jack. There's Snickers. I guess they're sleeping. They don't think this is very exciting. Oh, and way over here we have a kitty. He thinks he's a puppy. So he's sleeping too. We went up, before I went live, the puppies went on a puppy break, so they should be good for a while. So, all right. What else? What else can I show you? Okay, well, we'll do, like, once the meridian flip happens, we'll do a refocus. Because over time, watching videos, people say that over time, especially as it gets colder outside, your telescope can get out of focus. So what we'll do, we'll use this function and do an autofocus. And it goes through it. There's a piece of hardware that's on the focuser on the telescope, and it moves it much more fine and controlled than you could ever do with your hand. And it runs through an algorithm, and it tries to get the best focus. So when I did it, when I started, this yellow ball here, I don't know if you could see it, but that's what it decided was the best it could do at that time. And if you go back here, that number here is 2.28, and that's good for me. I found I don't ever get it under 2, but it could be worse too. It could be 2.75. So sometimes I'll retry it a few times and try to get it better, because the smaller a number, the better. I think that represents how many pixels the average star is wide, its diameter. And you want that to be as small as it can be. So we got another one coming up here, another image. Ding. There you go. So that guiding's good too. So it's good for me anyways. The stars are pretty much round. Okay, so anybody new came, I haven't probably shown. So this is each image that we've done. Now we've done 34 images. We've got 3 more to go for this part of it. That's just the last image. So I'm also running some software that does live stacking, which kind of tries to it reads every new image and it appends it to the images that came before. And it's trying to build up and kind of give you an idea of how the end image, when you do process it, might look. So let's go to that screen. So here's this program. And I don't know if you could tell, it must probably hard on screens, but the tadpoles are getting more defined. So I'll see my hand here, the 2 tadpoles, and if we go back, you can see them here, but they're not as well defined, and they're a little bit more fuzzy because there's more noise in the signal. So when it does live stacking, it can figure out, wait, that's noise, let's get rid of it, because it's been consistently there over each image. And another thing is the dark parts where there isn't any nebula, they seem to get darker, and the nebula parts seem to be a little bit brighter. If you kind of look at that, then let's go back to the the one image. See how the darks it blends more. So that's the trick. That's why you want to take a lot of sub images. The more you can take, the better, because then the software can improve the signal to noise ratio. So, like when I was first starting this, I didn't know that. So I would do like 10 images and think that was enough. You know, and at the beginning I was doing like 4-minute subs. So that'd be 40 minutes. And then I've learned that that's not a lot of time, because there's some people who will spend, you know, they can't get it all in one night. They'll spend like a month on the same thing. And just every clear night get more and more and more. It's a little easier for me because my camera's a one-shot color. That means you get the red, green, blue all at the same time. Other people, and I'd like to get this eventually, get a monochrome camera. And when you get a monochrome camera, you get the colors individually. So you need 3 hours on red, 3 hours on green, 3 hours on blue. And then there's also called a luminance. You want 3 hours on that. So then you're up to 12 hours on one thing. And when I was first learning about that, I knew that, and I thought, geez, I don't want to spend all that time on it. But when you see the end image, they do look really impressive. So eventually, maybe later in the year, I would like to get a mono camera. They're even more expensive than the one-shot color. So, like, the one-shot color that I have, the monochrome version of it, is $500 more. To give you an idea. Okay, I think we're on our last... No, we got this one and one more. And then we'll do our meridian flip. Okay, there's that guy. Yeah. So see how he's almost at the blue? This is K-stars, and this kind of will show you the yellow box. It figures out this is where the camera is pointing, and it's in this orientation. So one of the things you can do is, like, before you start taking pictures, if you don't like that orientation, there's a thing you can get. That's an automatic rotator. You can have the computer tell it to rotate, but you have to have the hardware to do that. I could physically go out and adjust some of the knobs, and I could rotate it, but I just hope that I don't have to do that, that it just is good enough, the orientation. So this is K-stars. This is basically used to just move the telescope, and then you can see things inside where they are. This black area is it's the horizon of my telescope. Like to the east, which is over here, this way, this line here is the house. The house is blocking the telescope from seeing all these stars. And then around here, it's trees in the backyard are blocking the telescope. But what's nice about it, the software allows you to define that area, so then you know when you can try to get imagery on stuff. There's no, if I wanted to get imagery of Uranus here, I can't. There's a tree in the way. So don't bother. So we're getting really close here to the flip. So I think one more. Got about 3 minutes. I'm pretty sure it'll wait. It won't ruin this last image. But I usually don't like to call it this close. I think when the guiding broke, I don't know if you were watching then, but the guiding broke and I had to restart it. That took some time. All right, the guiding there is good. I mean, that's very acceptable. Even though, say, I'm over 1.10. That's the RMS is the total error in guiding. I don't really know what the rest of this graph stuff is, to tell you the truth. So we're on our last image here. If it aborts, then we'll know that it did the meridian flip. without letting the image finish. But that's okay. It'll be just one less image. But this is, I think, going to look cool because of when you look at here, most of these nebulas are hydrogen, which turns into red, color red. But see how some of this brown is? That's going to look good, I think, and it's going to make it look good, I think. Like the guy who did it over here, he probably used the Hubble palette, and he made that brown into blue and the red into gold. So, yeah, this is in, okay, SHO is, SHO is sulfur, hydrogen, and oxygen. Those are filters you can get. I have one filter that does hydrogen and oxygen, and the sulfur it's red too. So I probably won't be able to get as good as this. I just noticed that. I didn't know you did that. But ooh, are we almost done? We're almost done. Hey, Jack. We're almost done. Oh, I need a soda break. So, also the idea will be to take all this stuff camping and be at campsites where it's darker, you can see more stars. It'll be cool. I like to live stream then too, but that'll depend on what kind of internet you got. Oh, the meridian flip is waiting. Alright, so it's smart enough to let you finish, that it's going to finish this last image in 10 seconds. And it's flipping. Go to the mount. Well, let's go to, let's see. Yeah, you can see it a little bit, I think. See the telescope moving? And the meridian flip is running. So the other thing, it turned off tracking. It was pretty smart. And I think if we go over to guiding, it paused it. Should have paused it. Yeah. It paused it. Usually there's text here. Yeah, you can tell, well, these are all yellow. It told the guiding to pause. So, okay, so tracking is back on. The flip is done. No, I think. So, no, it's not quite done yet. Oh no, that might be tracking. So what we'll do is capture and solve. What this is going to try to do is put it back in the middle. So it's taking a picture, looking at a database to make sure the telescope's pointing in the right place. Because anytime the telescope moves, it's not perfect. Okay, now it said it's in acceptable range. So I am going to 480. I'm going to do 70. Now let's do 60. That'll be 3 hours. 60 images. Add it. It's going to align it again. It's already aligned, but it's doing it again. I probably didn't have to do the manual capture and solve. It's acceptable, so it should be. I meant to focus. Yeah. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to stop that. Go to guiding. I'm going to stop guiding. It's because I didn't do... I got too excited. And what I want to do is do a new focus. And I found if I manually change it back to there, and I call autofocus, that works pretty good. So what autofocus is doing here, well, you can't see because I moved that off. But what autofocus is doing now is taking a picture, measuring all the stars, and giving them a numeric value. And eventually it'll finish, and it tries to do this U-curve, because like when you're out of focus, this might fail. I've seen this before. It's going in the wrong direction. The stars, if you're out of focus either way, they turn into donuts. And okay, this is back looking good. Yeah, this will work. You want it to be shaped like a U, this, and I moved my finger like you could see that. There, and it's better. I've never gotten it under 2. It's 1.95. Awesome. Okay, we start that. Wow. Oh, we gotta start guiding. Sorry. Guide. Okay, start guiding. I'll clear all this. There we go. So it's guiding, like I had mentioned earlier, that X, you want it to stay in here, in the innermost circle. Because even you could probably spend $10,000 on a mount, and it's still not going to be perfect. You still need software to help guide it. And my mount is like Joe, no person at this kind of level. And here you can see it's crossed the meridian. And now because the Earth is rotating, it's not going to go back. It's going to eventually just continue on. And if I image until like midnight, it eventually is going to be like down here and go into the red behind a tree. So that's when I'll stop and go to the whirlpool. Puppy came. Snickers. Oh, my chair's in the way. Wally's still there. Jack. Fun. Let's do full screen puppies. Full screen puppies. Jackson. He's had a long day. They had to eat treats all day. And go outside. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now that's it. That's really how exciting this is. But it is fun, I have to admit. It's kind of fun. Just that, like, this thing is up in the dark sky. And from your backyard, you can just point your telescope at it and get the image and see what it looks like. All right. We're coming down to the first image after the flip. Now our tadpole should be on this side, I think. Probably my head will probably block it. Oh, bad guiding. It's the other thing I've noticed after flipping, the guiding is, it takes it 10 minutes and it'll settle down. So the stars will probably be bad on this one. See? Flipped. Here's the tadpoles over here. The stars aren't bad. That image will be usable. So, but it looks like the tadpoles are a little higher. So the software will figure it all out, where the stars are supposed to be, and it'll figure it out. Like a lot of people don't like, they only take like so they do it like over 3 or 4 nights, and then at 8:30ish they wouldn't use images that flipped. They would just be consistent. But I've found that the software is really good, and it'll figure it out. If it doesn't, then you just toss them out. It's not a big deal. Get it next time. Alright, let's see if I've never tried. I wonder if the stacker's smart enough. Let's see. He's busy. He's probably processing that last image. This guy can go slow. So he could be... See, he's on 32 images. But I know he didn't get the first couple. So he's slow. He might not be... he could be a few behind. I think he might log here which one he's doing. I don't know. He's probably smart enough to flip it automatically. I got a new subscriber. Cool. Thanks. All right. Well, that's about all I can think of explaining. Explain it to me, Ricky. We could kind of look up the tadpole. I'm wondering how old it is. Like how far away it is. It's always interesting to know. It's like, you know, that light left a long time ago. Okay, looking good. Let's do that. Let's look up IC410. IC410 Nebula. Usually Wikipedia is pretty good. You can see everyone's pictures. They may not be, you know, using one-shot colors. They're probably using monochrome. Gives you more freedom to color it the way you want. It, you know, artist rendition. I wonder if it's not on Wikipedia. It's usually like the first hit all the time. Oh, geez, they don't have any details on it at all. Huh. Well, maybe, no. Well, we could go to NASA should have some details on it. Yeah, this is probably a Hubble or James Webb picture. They're a lot closer. It's 10,000 light years away, which is pretty close. 10,000 light years. Like that galaxy, the Whirlpool galaxy is like 20 million, I think. 31 million light years away. It's amazing. And then tadpoles are only 10,000. So tadpoles are probably in the Milky Way. They're in our galaxy. So I saw somebody had a shirt that was like, it was a spiral galaxy and then there's a dot. You are here. I thought that was kind of cool. I'd like to get that shirt. Because I guess we're on like the second to outer spiral in the Milky Way. The Earth is, or our solar system. This is not the Milky Way, of course. Let's see. I wonder if they have a picture of what they think it looks like. No. I guess it's just maybe part of our spiral, our line that we're on. I don't know. Yeah, this is where they think we are. Where's you are here? That's kind of cool. You could really learn a lot. All right. Isn't this fun? I don't see how Chuck talks for 4 hours. But he has people ask questions and that keeps him going. Plus he has 2 telescopes. So, and he said today in the deep sky things, it's harder because all you're doing is this for the next 3 hours. So like a lot of times he, with the other telescope, he'll shoot the moon or he'll shoot galaxies just to keep people interested. You know, just go to nothing he's gonna keep. And one telescope he'll do like for data he's keeping to make an image. He's made there's the NASA astrophotography picture of the day. He's got like 4 of them, which is, it's really hard to get that because a lot of people are trying. Yeah, and guiding is not doing good. Yeah, see, it's, we got outer ones here. I think it'll get better the further away we get from, see how far we moved already from the blue line. I know what we could do. Let me, pointing, find object. Whirlpool Galaxy. Let's see where it is now. It's right here now. M51. Okay. So I couldn't, if I wanted to get it right now, I couldn't. It's behind trees or it's behind the house or the neighbor's trees. Because I'm in the backyard and east is the house. So northeast, it's trees and the neighbor's trees, yeah. So I can't do it now, even if I wanted to. If I had 2 telescopes, couldn't do it. But these worked out together because when one goes away, the other one is coming in. I think I have 15 minutes where I can't get either. So that works out good. You spend, that's the other thing, you spend a lot of time planning. And so I use K-Stars to plan, and there's another piece of software called Stellarium. Can use that too, because you can mess with the time. So like yesterday when I was planning, I took yesterday off, so I was planning today because it looked like it was going to be clear. K-Stars, you can control the time. So you can kind of go in the future. All right, where is this thing going to be at 7 o'clock on Saturday? Then you can go to that time, and then you can get an idea if it's in your view. So that's kind of cool. I mean, there's a lot to this. Like this tab here, this can, like people who have domes, astronomy, like room, buildings, you can control the dome. Open it, with this software. That's cool. And the guy who wrote the software, or he's the main lead, he lives in Kuwait, and he has a dome. It's a permanent thing on his property. I wonder if Kuwait has clear skies a lot. Probably do. And then this is the guy talking to the guider. So, like, this software can do guiding, but I found the PhD 2 software it was easier to use. Like this, I'd never have gotten it to work. It just errors out, and there's probably settings in here that I just don't understand how to set. So I've just stuck with PhD 2, and it is really popular. So this is like when you move the telescope to a place, it's usually not perfect. So this is where you can hone it down to point exactly to the tiny thing you're trying to get. And it's called plate solving. I don't have that labeled here anywhere, but they have solver. But it's called plate solving. So wait, like before when I did it, you hit capture and solve. It takes a picture and then finds looks at the stars and matches it to a database files that I have locally in the computer. So it knows exactly like in the sky where it is in the sky, and so it says, oh, you got to move over a little bit more. It'll move the telescope, take another picture, and it'll iterate and do that until it, like, after the meridian flip, it had to do 3 pictures before it settled on. Like there's accuracy. I think this is in seconds. The direction seconds. So 30 is. We got within that in the center. So this has been the default. I've never changed it. And then this is where this would be handy. This is mount control. You'd want to use that. Oh, Snicky's coughing. He's awake. The mount control you'd want to use, like if you're like looking at the sun. I don't have the equipment to look at the sun, but if you're looking at the moon or the planets, you can just manually actually control the mount with this guy. Oh, move it here, move it there, and control the speed. You just got to take it off tracking. And then you can, right from your computer, tweak it. Because, but when I did the moon the other day, it was perfect. It just went right in the center. I didn't have to do anything. So that's cool. And again, this is the focus thing, and you want this parabola. So the algorithm worked good. And I found that if I move this to 20,000 and then run the autofocus, it works good. But if I don't change it to 20,000, it seems to get confused. So that works for me. And then this is where you define what you're going to capture at. And if you're familiar with camera stuff, which I don't know really anything about until what I've learned recently, but there's your exposure count, how long in seconds you want your exposure. There's gain and offset. I think gain is something to do with brightness. Offset, I think, is pixels. It'll like trim the outer part of where the camera is. I think that's what it's doing. And then there are 4 kind of images. Light is like what we're doing now, is just grabbing a picture. And then biases are like for DSLRs. It'll find errors in the DSLR camera so it can correct them. Darks are what I was telling you about before with these things. Your darks can correct these kind of things, because this is an error of the camera, the starburst thing. And flats are, I've learned, are the most important. You take flats, and the software will actually help you take flats, and it'll figure out the length of exposure. And what you can do if you got dust bunnies in your optical train there, it'll be able to subtract them out. And like my camera also has dark corners. So it takes a picture, it's brighter, it's like a bright circle in the middle. So the flats correct that too. And this guy, I just didn't tell him about flats. I think there was a configuration thing I didn't set up, so that's why he didn't correct the corners. But when I process this tomorrow, I have flats I've made. And the way you make them is kind of interesting. You put a bright light on the telescope, and then you take your flats. So what I used was my iPad. I brought up like a Word, Apple's word processor, and it had a blank screen, and I used that for to make my. And you should make them like, I think people are really into this. They kind of make all those flats, darks every time they go out to capture something. But I've made some and I just reuse them. That seems to be working for me. So this guy, I don't understand this. And I was watching a video. There's this group of people who are into, they're more into telescopes and astronomy, not necessarily photography, but they have people who do guests. And one of their guys' group, because the guy who in charge of this project, the guy from Kuwait, he was on there as a guest, and he was explaining how it worked. And one of the guys that worked was there also, and he was saying he invented this page, and he's retired, and he was a C programmer, and I still don't understand it. I guess green is good. I don't know. Like this one's obvious down the bottom. That's your guiding, and being in a green circle is probably good. So I don't know. So I don't really ever look at this one. Now this one is where you could like set up a whole evening and then go to bed. And then you get up the next morning and everything would be done. Like if I have these two things I want to capture, you could set it all up. Like I could have set it all up at like 4 o'clock. And then just gone to bed or gone somewhere, and it would do it all itself. I just don't, I don't trust it. I don't know enough about it, I think. I have to learn more. So where are we? All right. It's pretty good. Puppy can. Kitty can. Oh, chair's in the way. Where the cat hasn't moved. At least Snicky moved. Jack's tired. Ding, another one. Let's go. Oh yeah, let's go check this guy. He's got 37. And we've got 44, I think we've taken. So he's probably still behind. But every once in a while, like some of those, he's smart enough, he'll throw them away. Like he threw this one away, I think. Oh no. I got it configured wrong. He would do the dark things. He would have gotten rid of this. I must give him the wrong file. Stupid. Oh well. This is for demonstration purposes anyways. You can see really some detail coming in down here. It's going to be a good image, I think. All right. Yeah. This seems to be like normal guiding is for me is 1.2-ish. I wish it was better. I don't know. I think if I got a new scope that was lighter, I bet you it would be better. I could get it as good as that Arizona guy. Cool. Still 2 people here. That's all I know. No one's made any comments. Apparently I have a window here that'll show comments. But it should announce on Facebook so all my friends could have joined. I think only my brother and sister did. Ooh, wait, I better stop that. That'd be like crossing the streams. I brought up the live stream on Facebook. Oh, Jack got up. What's up, buddy? What's up with the dogs? They both got up. You gotta go pee? Alright, I think they gotta go out. So, puppy break. Be right back. Mustang. Whoopee. Come on. Jack, no. No, Jack. Come on, I'll give you more. Alrighty. Alright, what's going on here? Ooh. That's not that. Guiding's high again. Crap. Yeah, look at that. Look, it's all over the place. See? You go for a puppy break and look, it goes crazy. Crap. Oh well. Just another image I'll have to get tossed. I don't know. It's just so weird. Why is it good and then suddenly goes to La La Land? I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know. I've tried a lot of things. I think I got it as what you're supposed to do. I don't know. I think it's just my equipment. It's heavy. Wasn't really rated for the weight, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, this image is going to be bad too. Let's see. The color really improved there. That was weird. See how this guy's doing. Yeah, I think this is going to end up being one of my better images by the time they're done. It's perfect size for the field of view. Tadpoles. There must be 4 million of them. Will Hunter. There must be 10 million of them. Ready to couch it again, Jack? No. That's there. You sit in your spot. You sit there. All right. I put the blanket on him. It's funny, we'll be on the couch and he'll look at me and he wants me to put the blanket on him. It's funny, little communication you get to know between the pack. They look at you. Come on, do it. Put the blinky on me. It's gonna be good. All right, I think I'm getting tired. Let's see how Chuck does it for 6 hours. Can't talk that much. So I guess we'll stop the live stream, and the 2 people who are here can go do something fun. All right. 1 hour, 25 minutes, 22 seconds. That's pretty good. All right, we're going to call it a night, I guess. I might make a sandwich. Hungry. Ding. All right. Have a good night, everybody. And we'll press the button and say good night. Say good night. Gracie. That's it. Gracie Allen. Good night. I gotta get it to 126. There.